Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's show, it's time to touch up a few trees. Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. In the sense that I have a branch that splits into two shoots in here, so I'm probably going to cut this thing off right about here this fall. I've taken my knob cutter and I've gotten rid of some of that. So I just put them on the bottom, growing upwards into the bag. We fill it up with trees and then we water as we need to. Try and get rid of those air pockets. Last couple weeks I've been working on my pond, upper and lower. I just placed some new rocks up there and resealed up some of the cracks. I've been having a leak in my pond, and I think it's from the upper pond here. It looks like things are running smoothly. It's more towards the center of that waterfall. And I don't think I'm losing as much water as I was before. Goldfish seem to like it. So the upper waterfall is looking pretty good too. It still wants to lean to the right. I placed a few more rocks on the right too there to make sure the water wasn't leaking on the right side of the pond as you're looking at it. But this top little waterfall doesn't seem to leak. When I turn the other one off, the water in the pond does not lower due to the upper waterfall. Got the goldfish in there. So I hope I fixed all my errors. Let's get to some trees. Bright, sunshiny day. But I've got my Chinese elm, root over rock, doing pretty well. Loving life in the sun, thickening up a little bit. And I'm showing you that because today I'm going to take this Siberian elm forest that I picked up from a Minnesota Bonsai Society member friend, and we're going to just give it a little bit of a trim. Let's put it on our wheel. Get to work. So here is a group of Siberian elms that were growing in the Minnesota Bonsai member's yard. Little saplings, you know, like I picked up a lot of maples in my yard and ash trees. And he put this in what appears to be the bottom of a, almost just like the bottom part of a big old, you know, plastic terracotta pot. But there are holes in the bottom. So what a perfect way to start a forest. I love this little plastic pot. So there are over 20 trees in here. Sold to me for 10 bucks. I figured it was a great deal. He and his wife just had a baby, and he's got a lot of trees, so it was time to get rid of some trees. And this one I couldn't pass up, to have 20 trees for 10 bucks. Do the math real quick. What, 50 cents a tree, right? Yep. I had to laugh a little bit though. I came back from my week out in Utah, which we'll be talking about in the next episode. And a lot of my fullness was kind of gone. Well, sure enough, the bunnies are getting the lower levels of the trees. So I've got all this top stuff here. So those bunnies, there's so many of them this year, and they're wreaking some havoc. So a couple of these trees in here, this one right here in particular. So this guy right here, big, long, he's the big growing one here. He's split nicely here in a couple different spots. I got 3 up here, I can cut that back already. And some broken branches from the rabbits, but they're starting to get some thickness. So these are about 2-3 years old of age, I believe. Here's another thick one. So there are some parts in the middle of summer when there's not a whole lot to do to some of your trees. And we're coming to the mid part of August, and I think our low, our summer dormancy, if you will, partial dormancy, is probably going to come to an end here. Then we'll have another little surge of growth at the end of August, September into October before things really start to chill off in the upper Midwest in Minnesota here. But for cleaning up, you know, there's a lot of little twigs on here, little branches, little things that are now dying off because of the rabbit getting to them that we can just cut off. We know we're not going to use them. So I'm just going to go in here and start doing some cleaning. And even if some of these little ones are alive, well, some of these small live branches that are trying to hang in there is maybe taking away some of the energy from the tree. So this might be a sapling right there. Look at this little tiny thing, probably attached to one of the roots. You probably can't see this one. super skinny. So we got stuff all over the place in here. This is a super challenge. So one of the things we have to be careful about when we're going to go in and take care of some trimming is, what do we want to do with this thing in the end? Well, next spring I'm going to take this all apart and see how many clumps I can get. Will I get 5 groups of 4? Well, I don't want 4s, I want maybe 5, so 4 groups of 5 if we got 20 trees. Maybe I do a 7 and an 11, you know, that's 18 of the trees. Maybe there's a couple I can just keep out as individual Siberian elm trees. I love the elm leaves. They have jagged leaves. They kind of have little jagged edges on there, super nice. These leaves are a little bit bigger than the Chinese elm that I showed you earlier. So for all intents and purposes, I can just give this a haircut and just trim it all down and make it look like a shorter forest. And then it'll get this little last push at the end of the year here, and the new buds will be stronger here instead of up here for next spring. So I want to just kind of push everything back and condense it now. It's at all its leggy growth, and I want to just control it a little bit more. So this one, I'm going to make sure I have leaves and everything. And this is all hardened off, all the way up to the tips of most of these, hardened off. So I can go down. I've got a split right here, split into 2 right there. I'm going to go up one, cut it right there. Put that one right there. I also had a problem, so harder for you guys to see at that distance, I know, but right here there's a split of a branch right here. So I'm going to go a couple of buds above that and go right there. I've got gnats or something biting my toes. This is the big one I talked about earlier. It has a big branch down here, but it's super long. We don't need all that height. But if you can see on this one now, there's a branch here, 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 and then it splits up big right here. But I'm going to take all of this off right here. I could probably use that maybe as a cutting, or 2 cuttings. So we will save some of these and experiment. So that was a big one that we cut way back, and that'll continue to divide here. It's one of my stronger trees. That could be a tree that's used as a solo tree down the road. Let's do these next 2 big ones right here and here. Again, pull all that away. I've got a branch here and here and here and here, here, whole bunch of branches. We don't need all this height. Possible cutting. Hardened off wood. This one naturally splits right here and up here, so we're just going to go up here with a couple extra buds and we'll cut that one right there. This tall one, very slender all the way down. Oh, but it has a lot of thickness down here. Actually, these 3 stalks right here, the lower one here, and this one right here, 1, 2, and 3, they're all connected together. So before I go too crazy on that, I want to see what that base looks like in there, which you guys can't see anymore. Only I can. It's really chunky, and there's some branching down below that splits pretty nice too, so I'm not sure if I need to keep all, I can't keep all of those. I'm going to go ahead and cut the little one off for sure. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one yet, but I've got leaves up to here and here, so for sure I'll just cut them back to there right now. This one cut back to, oh, there's a split right there. Let's cut it there. I got these little ones. I got so much leaf growth below it. I think I was starting to mention that the Japanese beetles were getting to this one as well. So I've had rabbit issues, Japanese beetles issues, and I'll maybe have to think about where I position this tree again now after I cut all this, because the rabbits are still around. So, first glance, quick little haircut there. We can get this thing looking a little bit more like a wild and crazy shrub into a little bit more of a reasonable shrub. But of course it still looks like a shrub. A forest shrub. Branch just crosses over really weird. I got this guy right in here at the inside that. There's a little bit of leaves on there, so I'll cut that off unfortunately, but again, we don't need some of these bottom branches right now. And we'll get some back budding. Look at this little guy right here. Leaf there, brand new leaf there, So that one's trying to grow. Here's that little tiny one right there, one little leaf on it. I got so many little ones in here, probably have 30 in all, but maybe all of them aren't going to be viable. This one's growing really kind of funky right up here. It's 2 branches in a really bizarre way. We'll take that out in the spring and we'll see if there's a way to twist that thing around. Again, right now, just messy. There's still life up here on the top, but these 2 I see are gone. So we'll see. Look at that, all that long, leggy growth. See, the other problem of letting things go too long is, and with this thick forest now, they're all reaching up for the sun. Got this long, leggy growth. If I cut this back and let some sunshine in here, I might get some more leaves back here and some new buds forming for the rest of this year. Actually, that'll become more the start of next year. Cut that one off there because it's chunky up there, and I got these 2 live ones up here. I'm actually going to cut it back to 1, and we'll just see. We'll just see what happens with that guy. A couple of these right here, super long. We got some 3 and 4 growing out of the same spot right here. Don't know what they're going to do next year. Leave that one down there. It's got leaves on it. Guy right here. Got a nice little curve shape over here. This one doesn't have much life on it anymore. There's a couple of leaves on there, but again, growing so leggy, trying to reach up for that sun. If I can cut some of this back or cut some more up top here to make the sun hit it more, we'll maybe have to try that. So there is the Siberian Elm trim. The second tree I'm going to work on today is my variegated ficus forest of 3 trees. I've had these for about 2-3 years. And with it being mid-August, I want this to push out another flush of growth before I put it in for the winter months. This will grow all year long, and with my grow lights inside my plant room, I'll get plenty of growth throughout the winter months, but not nearly as much as in the summer. So with plenty of warmth to go, I'm going to do some major cutbacks to this guy because we're getting a little bit of reverse taper on this one too, and each individual tree is not spectacular, so that's why I put it in a forest. And so, you know, this tree right here has only growth on this one right side right now, but that's partially because it's in the forest. There's nothing growing over here except for this on the top. This one's the strongest tree in the middle here. Kind of forks out here into a funky Y with this coming right out here at the viewer. So that's why it's planted a little bit at an angle there. And then this left tree is kind of another one of those Y trees, but splits really nice here, so great ramification here, but not so much here. So this one's taken over. So I want to balance the tree out as much as I can on this guy here. So I need to take a look at this and see what I want to do. There's been some tough decisions that I've thought about many times on this tree and I haven't done. This front tree is an example right here. So we've got the trunk of the tree getting thinner up here and thinner, but this section up here, it's a little fat up here. it's a little thick, and I'm wondering if I want this to be the new leader, or if that is the new leader, will this thicken up a little bit more and I'll have this kind of division from there, your left to right, or my right to left there. And I can cut this way back too, and it'll split and divide. So I've had some question about how short to make that front one. So it's just gonna have to, you know, get a couple of good looks at it and see. You'll also notice on this tree that this is a really big, thick, strong, like would be the primary branch, but this one down here is smaller. So if I wanted this to get thicker and kind of match that a little bit more, they're not on the exact same horizontal plane, so it doesn't make a T, but this one's never going to get much thicker than this one because of how thick and strong this guy is. So I'd have to cut this one way back to maybe make this one become that first primary branch, which is a little bit lower. Not much, but could provide some interesting character if it curves out this way and I bring this one down here. Okay, so I have to make some decisions. And the first one, I've been thinking about this for so long. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this thick branch right there down to here. This could make a decent cutting. It's nice and thick, and most of my ficus trees have done really, really well with cuttings growing roots. So I don't think this one would have too much trouble sprouting up. So I might save that for a cutting. So there's that tree right there. Now this one's going to bleed a lot of that milky, you know, typical ficus bleed right there. So we'll have to clean this out a little bit, and I got a little bit of cut paste I can put on there if I think it's too big of a cut. And that's the biggest cut I've made on this tree ever. So I left this right here as a potential new leader there. So I can leave this alone right now and just let this grow. But then I got this branch behind it growing here, which you can't see very well with this tree in your way. But right there, see this guy right here? That's back there. So that could create some reverse taper and swelling, multiple branches growing from the same point. So I'm just going to cut that right off and clean that up. Okay. So I cut that big branch way down, so that should thicken up the branch down here. But we can go ahead and cut some of that off as well and lower it down so we can balance some of this growth. I'll take the branch that's coming right at the audience out. It's behind so you can't see it, and we can maybe let this one, or possibly down here, that one could become a new leader down the road here. One of the things about these ficus trees is variegated ficus. You get all these extra leaves growing right underneath another branch, so you just can go ahead and clean those out a lot throughout the year and get rid of that extra leaf so you can get more thickness in that branch. An example of that would be right here. I got this branch coming out, nice split right there, but this one leaf here, this one leaf right there, that leaf is growing right in the crotch of that. You just pull that right out and you're good to go. There's a lot of leaves like that in this tree, where there's a leaf right below where the branch is growing. Here's another one right here. So here's the branch right there, and then this leaf is just growing. I don't need two growing from right there. So that one's thick enough. I don't want to rip anything, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut that one off. So my front tree has opened up a lot, but it's leaning real forward to the audience right now, and it's real hollow back here. Opening up all these trees will get more growth back in there, of course, but I want to get rid of some of this front heavy. So this branch right here, I got this growing right here. This could become the new leader if I cut it off right here. So here's the branch. It's going up this way, but I want it to grow back instead of towards the audience. I'm going to cut that one right there. This guy right here, as you can see him, splits nicely. I got a little branch growing right here, a big nice splitting branch here that splits multiple times. Then I've got the branch over here, and then it's going up this way. Well, I'm trying to shorten this growth, so if I just go ahead and do this right there, now I've cut it back to 2, actually 3. So now I've got this up over here, this over here, and this could become the new leader. Now as I spin around and look at it, I might want to so here's the dilemma of that branch. That branch right here splits down here, goes up back this way, and then this one is still in your face. So I'm going to cut that off. Cut that off. Now it's not coming out towards the audience so much, and I got some more of these growing back. And because I'm trimming, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off down here just to make it a little bit shorter. I'm even going to go ahead and be so bold as to cut it down here and let this become the new leader out front if need be. Trim it down one more, and there's the front tree. I'm going to leave the rest alone. Again, if you have any of these leaves that are extra, right down here, here's a branch that branched off to one direction, ramified, but I don't need this extra leaf just dangling there, so I can take that off. I can go and clean all of these leaves as needed like that if I don't want them. All right, so that's tree number one. So you notice I've cut that down a good couple inches from the rest of the trees. Now I have to tackle the right and the left tree. So the left tree is leaning that way. There's not a lot of growth in here, as I said, but by opening all this up, the sun will reach in there and maybe get some growth in there. If you look at the back of this tree, it's got kind of this weird branch here, and then there's the first like primary branch there. I am once and for all going to cut this one off. So from the back, I got rid of that little branch down there. I don't need any more. This is the front where the branch is coming off over here. We could wire this down here at some point, and you'll notice there's another branch growing over here. But I'd like this branch, if it was coming off over here, would be nice, but it's there. It's all I got to work with right now. I'm going to leave it alone. But what I'm contemplating is all this mess up top again. So this tree, you move this sideways, there's some nice movement up here, and then if I want to keep it going this way, I probably have to do something here. And this is where it gets thick and kind of gnarly, and I'm just going to cut that right off. And again, I have a potential cutting right there that'll turn into a new tree pretty fast. So I will probably put that one in a pot as well. So now if you look at that tree, it's kind of sprawling and splits there, now goes out that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and shorten some of these up here. So I just have to look at it to see which direction I want it to go in. So I'm just going in here and seeing where I've got branches growing up here. This one's splitting real nicely into two down here. So I'm going to go down here and just cut all that off. This I'm going to cut right there. I'm going to make this shorter because it's starting to form a branch right there. Up here, this is the real thick now leader. And it's got a branch over here that can become a new leader. And again, I wanted to get thinner and thinner. Or this could be the new leader if I cut this whole thing off right here. But I like how it curves. I like how this is curving up, coming up here, over here, and curving up here, plus this branch going this way. It's a pretty decent look right now. So this is just going to push some more ramification down lower, opening up again for the sun to see and see what other branches may form, which may get some, fill in some of the tree down below where it's bare down over here. And then this side, if I just clean it up a little bit, you know, that's all we're doing. Getting rid of some of these interior leaves that I know I'm not going to need. Alright, so that's thinned out a fair amount. I'm cutting that back to there. Alright. And again, if I wanted to, I could even wire this down a little bit to make this become a little bit more prominent. I think I'll cut this back here so it does go more up. I'm just going to leave it right there for now. So there's the tree on the right as you're looking at it. And so now I'm gonna look at this left tree. Now this left tree is tucked back a little bit further. A lot of stuff going on in the back here, but not as much in the front, which is good. This one in the front really, this tree should be spun more. This tree should be twisted more towards you this way. So I don't want to ruin the tree too much for future plantings and get rid of too much of this ramification going to the side, or what looks to be coming right out at me. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this guy. I got this guy kind of in the middle blocking some stuff. So I'm going to come and look at it from your point of view. Yeah. So again, this one could be twisted this way a little bit, and it would look really quite nice. I could do that right now with just moving my hand here with a wire. But this is too big up here. Cut that right off. And if this was twisted up more, this would be more like that. This interior branch is doing nothing for us. Get rid of that one. The big decision I have to make is when it's growing up here, where is going to be the leader, what's going to happen here. Cut that one off there. Cut that one off there. Make it shorter all the way around. That one there. So some of these are just making things shorter. Structurally, I'm going to go back and take a peek at it. So this kind of comes right out at the viewer here, but I like how this branch comes up down here and comes over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the decision. Put that right there. I got this branch up here that could thicken up. You'll see there's one behind it here that could thicken up. I don't need this interior. I don't need this leaf in the interior. Another interior right towards the camera. This big leaf is kind of a wasted space leaf right now. I'm going to cut that one out. Step back, take a look at it. So I think I'm going to leave it right there. It's a good cleanup. A good cleanup. So we've maintained a little bit of a forest shape. This one's a little bit lower, but it's the front and center one. It'll get lots of sun. We've thinned it out, and we'll get a nice push here before our fall. The last tree we're going to work on is watermelon seed ficus that I got from a workshop from the Minnesota Bonsai Society. Clippings from one of the many trimmings that some new workshop attendees clipped off. I just grabbed some of those and put them in some soil, and here we go. It's about 3 years going now, and the trunk at the bottom down here has a good solid inch around right down there, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major trunks now. So it's kind of clump style, multi-trunk style. It does have one trunk, but I've seen some pictures of some really cool shorter, wider trees with all these multiple trunks. And as I just went to Utah this past week, and the more I travel around, and when you look in nature, you can see all kinds of trees growing in all kinds of different ways. So it doesn't always have to be, of course, straight upright or even an informal upright. So this is one of my multi-trunk designs here, and it's starting to thicken up slowly but surely. And you can see the summer growth up on top here. All this light color stuff on the top is all growing this year, this summer. And so we're going to cut it one more time before we get it in for the fall in another month and a half or so. Some of these branches I've thought of even bringing down and making it a super wide tree. Really opening up wide. So that means I need more thickening here, which this provides right in here. That's why I've kept that on here. So I might wire this out here a little bit, and this becomes a pad out here, or a couple of pads possibly, because I've got three nice branches there. So we're just going to go ahead. This one's a really nice branch, goes way up here, and it doesn't really split to two branches till about right here. So I can cut that out, and I'll have some ramification there. This is another ficus, this watermelon seed ficus, where there's going to be a whole bunch of leaves just growing in the middle of nowhere or right underneath where a branch has started to grow out. And so we can pluck all those off as well or cut them all off. So on this branch right here, I've got a branch coming up this way, and then it splits up here. Well, there's another branch growing this way, and there's two over here. So I have 4 branches. I'm going to go right down to where it splits up. I'm going to go down here to the second one. There we go. So now I cut 2 cuts. So now I got leaves everywhere here, but I've got a branch coming down this way and a branch still going up that way. So I cut it down to the 2. So that one's done. I'm going to come in here. This one splits to 2 right down here really nicely as well, and then the next growth is right here. So if I cut this leaf out for you, here's another example right here. This leaf right here is growing right below where this branch is trying to gain strength, so I'm going to cut that off. We don't need that leaf right there. So here's where it divides, and then this is going to be a strong division here, but look, there's a leaf right underneath that division. Get rid of that one. So now with my finger in the way there, I hope you can see that, I've got a division going down, and I got a division going up here. I'm going to cut it right there. And so I just made that leaf shorter, or that branch shorter rather. And so that thinned this out. I got rid of about maybe a third of the branch of the leaves right away on that structure. It's almost as tall, so I could come back in here and maybe shorten this one here, and I could maybe shorten this one here, and hopefully it'll split off and continue to grow there. So we're just going to do that throughout the whole tree. We're going to keep trimming this tree down. Got a really thick branch back here now. Thick branch that you can see divides there, divides right here. And then right in this area, there's 4 division points. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut back to right there, get rid of all of this clump right here. So I just cut that one down. I cut that one almost in half. And so I cut a lot of leaves off there. This one I'm going to keep here a little bit taller because I know I could bend this branch down at some point. But I am going to cut it down, so I only have a split right in the middle of it right there. And I'm going to cut this lower one off completely. I just don't want that one there. Clean up the root line. So there's this one right here. Those 2 are done. So now I got this third guy right here. And again, if I come right into the beef of this, right here, you can see maybe from the camera, I got a whole bunch of splits there. It goes up here. Here's the first branch. This leaf again growing right there in the crotch of that. Just get rid of that one, get rid of that one. So here's the branch going up here. Then there's one here, and then it's the main stem again, main branch from down here, and then it splits off again up here and here. I'm just going to cut it way back there, and watch. I'm going to get rid of all of that. A little bit too short for a cutting, but it's possible. So I left this splitting into 2 basically here and here, but I do have a nice branch back there to give me some texture and depth. I'm just going to shorten it. I'm going to come up here and shorten this one, and shorten this one. Just because I have plenty of leaf structure growing there and more splitting in the small way. And there we go. This side of the tree has been trimmed. And we've got this that can come and lay down here and make a pad someday, possibly. And then this one can keep getting thicker. This has one growing in that isn't doing much, so I'll just cut that off. Look at this little tiny bud right down here. Can you see that little leaf right down there? That's nothing, doing us no good, taking away energy. I'm going to take that away. So, this branch of the 5 branches, branch number 1 is done. Okay. So, in about 5 to 10 minutes there, I was able to trim about half of this tree off. I really trimmed off probably a third to a half of the foliage off, shrunk it back down. These are all going to split some more and make even more ramification. Again, I could pull this out here down the road. I could pull this one down here a little bit. I could maybe even pull this back here and this over here. So there's things I can do with wire. I have wired this tree in the past, but I have to be very careful because it grows fast and it marks really fast. So you don't want to mark up these trees or you'll be dealing with scars for a long, long time. So the only thing I don't like is how this one is still kind of aggressive in our face. So I'm just going to cut that piece off right there. And now that lightened up that piece right there. I got some extra little leaves in here. So the only thing I would do next is go through and get all these leaves that are, again, super, like this one right here is growing right in the crotch. Don't need that one. This one is not going to do anything. I don't need that one. This one is growing right next to another leaf growing out. I don't need that one. So you can see some more of the bark then, some more of the trunk line, and follow it on up. So if you look at all these leaves, I probably could still get rid of about 10, 15 more leaves within the structure. Still looks pretty good from behind, and it's looking okay from there. And now it's going to get a lot of sun for another 4 to 6 weeks and look pretty good. So there's the watermelon seed ficus. My update for today, I thought I would show you guys my Fukien Tea, and this is the most interesting growing tree I've had in my collection. For those of you who know about Fukien Teas, please comment below and give me some of your pointers and what you've had and the successes and the failures and why. Because this thing grows crazy from the midsummer on, and then I bring it in my cold frame or my plant room indoors with grow lights and everything, and then it pretty much shuts down and almost goes into a dormancy. And if I trim it, the last video I did on this one, I trimmed it down and it didn't grow a speck after that until literally middle of summer. All of a sudden all these shoots came out. So this is the growth from about mid-July through mid-August now. All of a sudden, boom, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shoots going out. And if you remember this tree before, this was coming out over here. I lost about half the tree this year too. It just died back. But honestly, I like it better this way. It's a little more compact. It's still got movement. And now it's going to go this way, and we can have a really cool tree coming over this way and hopefully build some pads. I don't know how these grow long term, so this is a new thing for me. So again, if you know, give me some pointers. I'm going to let everything just grow out this year, and I'm not going to touch it over the winter. But I don't like this one down here. I don't like this growth. So I'm going to take that one back. So this right here is new growth. This is all hard and woody. I didn't want it to go down there anymore. I'm not really looking for necessarily a cascade style per se, but I do like the curve here, movement here, and then it's going to come back this direction, and we'll see. Where these will go, I don't even know. But I'm not going to cut anything else. So this is not really a trimming, but more of an update to show you what it looks like now after my last video. If you go back to the Fukien Tea, I gave it a major haircut because these grew through like October when I put it in the house, and then it kept growing in my plant room, and then when I touched it and cut it after these things were like this long way up in here, out of camera range, then it stopped growing. It didn't grow anymore. That stressed it out. I probably will repot this one in the spring because I think it's been in this pot now for this was 2 years. But so there's the update. That is the Fukien Tea. Just cut off one branch here to put more of the growth and energy everywhere else, and there it is. Hey, thanks for joining me, everybody. This is Dave Weiss for Dave's Bonsai. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're having a good time with your bonsai, since many of you, I'm sure, are home a lot more than you are used to with COVID going around. Please stay healthy. It's going to get worse before it gets better, I'm afraid. But we can always work on our trees and keep sane that way. It sure has provided lots of therapy for me. So the Fukien Tea and all my other trims, we'll catch you on the next one, which will be my 50th episode on YouTube. I hope you join me for my 50th. It's going to be the highlights from my Utah trip. I hope you can join me. But until then, have yourself a great couple of days, weeks, or however long it takes me to make number 50. Big 50. And thanks to everybody who's hit likes and has asked questions and responded. Throw some questions, give me some comments. I love that every time. All right, we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. In the sense that I have a branch that splits into two. It's in here, so I'm probably going to cut this thing off right about here this fall. I've taken my knob cutter and I've gotten rid of some of that. So I just put them on the bottom, growing upwards into the bag. We fill it up with trees and then we water as we need to. Try to get rid of those air pockets.